Almost everyone is wrong about crypto this cycle. Everyone has their own idea about what's exactly going to happen, but almost everyone is fixated still on, how this time is different. We're not going to see something like 2021 or 2017 and 2018. And this is where almost everyone is wrong, right? We're starting to see things change around crypto 100%. I get that. I understand that. Regulations are now a thing. We have, government adoption of crypto becoming a reality. And at the same exact time, we are starting to see institutional players diving on in with ETFs and even adoption of some of these crypto networks. For an example, JP Morgan adopting Base for their JPMD. It's tokenized reserves essentially, but it is a stablecoin. It's classified as a stablecoin. But it's definitely crazy to see all these things happening, and it shows us that the environment around crypto is changing. However, is the cycle itself changing? I don't believe so. And this is where almost everyone is, kind of making the same mistake that they made back in even 2021, where they thought that it was a completely different cycle because institutional adoption was even starting then. And they thought that, all right, well, it's going to lead into mass adoption from institutional players, and it's going to change the way that the cycle, works. And, we're just going to continue, and we're going into a super cycle for crypto, this, that, whatever. That is a very dangerous narrative to get pushed at this point of the cycle. I want to go over a lot of things. All right, number one, let's actually start off real quick with the market itself. On the daily, we do see some nice gains across the board. Some of these altcoins are actually up, 10+%. Some of them hitting 100%, as you guys can see from CFX. But overall, the last week has been incredible. The last month has been great. And even the last year, I mean, listen, almost everything out there is just a sea of green on every single time frame. And XRP still continues to shine. Right now, currently speaking, XRP is just hovering around $3.50, while Bitcoin is about roughly almost 120K. But Ethereum is also almost at 3,800. It did tap 3,800 earlier today, still outperforming Bitcoin. This is exactly what we wanted to see. But also, if we actually look at some of these other altcoins as well, we're seeing a nice gain across the board. This is what we want to see. We want to see altcoins really gaining momentum on Bitcoin and actually, rallying against Bitcoin while Bitcoin is being pretty boring, which it is right now. It's actually up only 0.3% today alone. In the last 7 days, it's actually down 1.2% while everything is still continuing to pump. This is what the overall market looks like. Let me refresh it just to make sure that everything is up to date. 3.92 trillion for the market cap of crypto. It did hit about 4 trillion just recently. But the main thing that we're actually looking at here is that fear and greed has been dropping while altcoin season is at 53 out of 100. And that's because if we actually look at the top gainers and losers right now in the top 500 in the last, 30 days, look at some of these gains here. I mean, this is insane to really kind of see. I mean, some of these altcoins are just going insane. Most of these are up 100% in the last 30 days. HBAR's up 92% roughly, XLM 97, almost 98%, Solo up over 100+%, Tezos up over 100+%. I mean, these are legitimate projects. These are not just meme coins or illiquid, altcoins. No, these are extremely bullish, legitimate projects, even on the top 100 in the last 30 days. We can see the gains across the board here. XDC is up, Algo is up, Curve is up, XRP is up. I mean, this is exactly the type of price action that we want to see at this point in this market. Now, what point are we at right now? Well, we're in phase 2. Ethereum is starting to steal the show. I want to quickly interrupt the video just to let you guys know that now is the best time to lock in and jump into the free Discord. If you guys want to get even more exclusive access, you guys can join the premium section for $99.99 a month. And I know that that sounds extremely expensive, but you are not just getting access to my updates, you're also getting access to tokenizers updates, and a full team of individuals that are here to help you along the way throughout the cycle. There's a ton of updates in there, access to my portfolio, access to trade updates, chart updates, weekly market breakdowns, mid-weekly market breakdowns, and so much more. So what are you guys waiting for? Join up in the free Discord down below. And if you guys want to get access to those exclusive updates, you guys are more than welcome to join the premium section as well. So let's dive back on in to the video. Now, we are hearing from some very prominent names that Ethereum could hit some pretty significant levels by the end of this month and even by the end of this year. This is what the current all-time chart looks like for Ethereum. We are challenging all of that resistance from the October and November highs, and even the January and December highs, and also even the March of 2024 highs. If we could break over this and clear $4,000 and officially break out, we will be challenging those all-time highs from 2021. The question is, once we are in price discovery, how high do we go? Well, number one, currently, if we think about Ethereum, it is one of the most adopted networks for tokenized assets and even for stablecoins and DeFi. It's a very, very successful network at this current point. After Ethereum and how high Ethereum goes, it's definitely crucial to focus on Ethereum right now, because the higher that Ethereum goes, the more liquidity that it generates for altcoins. So we want to see, and we actually want to, cheer for Ethereum when it starts to move to the upside, because we want to see Ethereum hit some very big levels. Now, if we're thinking about that, let's go over here to Tom Lee, because this is his 2025 forecast. He says that he sees Ethereum by the end of July at $4,000 and 10 to 15K by the end of the year. This is based on circle multiples and layer 1 usage premiums. Check this out.
So I think in the near term, our technical strategist Mark Newton thought we could be seeing 4,000 before the end of the month for Ethereum, but that's not where it peaks.
What's your price target for ETH as we head into the second half of the year?
Our price objectives at Fundstrat. So I wear a couple of hats. I'm the chairman of BitMine, but I'm also the head of research at Fundstrat. And actually I have a third role, which is the CIO of Fundstrat Capital. But at Fundstrat, Sean Farrell is the head of digital assets research. And he's given me some informal sort of targets. One way he thinks of this is that if we look at Circle and its free cash multiple, which now is like 130 times EBITDA, on an equivalent basis, Ethereum is closer to 15,000. And that makes sense. I think the layer 1, as you get into layer 1, you should apply a higher multiple to like sort of theoretical usage, because it's the same reason software companies get higher multiples than retailers, right? The more you're getting away from the customer and the more it's pure signal, you apply higher multiples to that business. And so I think in the near term, our technical strategist Mark Newton thought we could be seeing 4,000 before the end of the month for Ethereum, but that's not where it peaks. He just thinks that that's the first target. And then I think something, if Sean Farrell's math is correct, then I think 10 to 15,000 actually makes sense too.
By the end of the year?
It could be end of year, it could be sooner. I mean, it just really depends. But that wouldn't be the cap.
And if we're thinking about that, that's like 4 months away. Okay. End of year is 4 months away. Ethereum hitting 10 to 15K. If this happens, okay, and by the way, it definitely could happen. Like I said, Ethereum, in terms of tokenized RWAs on Ethereum, it's actually up by 20x since January of 2024. This growth is insane, and it's actually driven by some of the largest players out there. BlackRock, for an example, Franklin Templeton, Apollo, VanEck, you name it, Wisdom Tree. But on top of that, stablecoin usage on Ethereum is the largest one in terms of the stablecoin market, over $135+ billion on Ethereum alone. And in terms of tokenized RWA, 7.2 billion out of the 13.17 billion on these public networks. Ethereum is extremely bullish. I've been saying that over the last couple weeks and the last couple months. Even though I'm not in Ethereum, maxi, I don't really care too much about Ethereum. I know that Ethereum is the boat that altcoins are on right now. And once we get into this phase 2, which I believe that we are in, and we get that phase overlap where altcoins are starting to really pump up in a huge way, which they're starting to move right now, I do think that this is going to carry the boat for altcoins in a big way. And if we're thinking about 10 to 15K, that's a significant amount of liquidity for Ethereum to actually generate. At a time where Bitcoin dominance is losing significant levels, we already lost the first major target here of 61.9%. We're at about almost 61% right now. I don't believe that this is the bottom. I think that we continue to lose dominance on Bitcoin, where Ethereum could actually start sweeping up that dominance. Right now, Ethereum against the Bitcoin pair is breaking above that crucial target that I mentioned over time. And now we're starting to break above it. And I do think that this is going to lead to a major impulsive move on Ethereum. And so far, the Ethereum USD chart just continues to, chuck along. Right now, we're, at 30, almost 800. This $4,100 level, that's all major resistance from 2024 to even 2025. And if we could break over this, all-time highs are the next stop. So I do think that Tom Lee is correct here. And I don't think that those figures are that crazy for Ethereum to hit, considering the fact that Ethereum's market cap right now is about roughly 453, almost $454 billion compared to Bitcoin's almost 4 trillion. Yeah, I think that those are some pretty conservative levels. And if we're thinking about how high Ethereum goes, what about XRP? Well, XRP looks like this currently on the 3-day chart, just brewing against that $3.50 resistance level. If Ethereum is going to generate that much liquidity, and we're going to see it trickle down, okay, this is the current XRP Ethereum chart. This is in a very bullish setup. The stage is set on the XRP Ethereum chart. If we can start to see Ethereum really break out, dominance on Bitcoin really drop, I do think that the XRP Ethereum chart will start to break to the upside as well. We're actually kind of at this point right now for the XRP Ethereum chart, where we're just kind of chopping here. The next big impulse move here was during 2018, when XRP was really kind of gaining some momentum. Obviously, we weren't in a bull run during that time. We are now. Alt season is basically starting. And if XRP can break above this, crucial level on this chart that we just hit back in March, then it would be rallying the all-time highs on this chart against Ethereum. And during that time, XRP should be pushing above roughly, $4, $5 on the chart. And if we're thinking about how high Ethereum can go in terms of market cap, and, we know XRP has flipped Ethereum in the past, I do think that XRP could rally against Ethereum and get pretty close to its market cap. And, at those levels, XRP could easily be trading at $10 plus, even $20 plus by the end of, this cycle. And if we're thinking about end of the year targets for Ethereum being 10 to 15K, end of the year targets for XRP could easily be $10 to $15, if not $20 plus. So this is what I mean by, we don't know exactly how high these things are going to go. We just kind of go off of these analysts that are working for these very prominent companies, but the entire market is extremely bullish. XRP is at $3 and almost 50 cents at a time where Bitcoin dominance is, still above 60%. We still have a long way to go until we actually get that topping signal for altcoins. XRP could easily, from our current level, I don't think that, a 3 to 5x is that crazy of a multiple for XRP currently. When it comes to Ethereum, again, the same kind of goes here. I think that a 3 to 5x on both Ethereum and XRP for the end of this year is not unreachable. And it's actually pretty conservative compared to how long we've been waiting on XRP. When it comes to Ethereum, I still think that's pretty conservative considering the fact that, Ethereum is one of the largest networks in the space and one of the largest homes for, enterprises and even institutional players at this current point. Obviously, in time, I do believe that that will change, but this is still very bullish for XRP and for altcoins when we are in that Ethereum phase, because we have that overlap where money is starting to trickle down. And remember, money will flow from Bitcoin into Ethereum and then from Ethereum into large caps, and we finally get that alt season. So if we are getting pretty bullish on the last 30-day gains in the top 100 or even the top 500, and we're seeing these incredible moves happening, this is nothing compared to like 2021 or 2017, 2018. And this is where I think everyone is kind of getting, this all mixed up. They think that this market is changing. They think that the cycle is changing. Remember, this market runs on liquidity. All right, it's all based around liquidity. Right now, Ethereum is stealing the show. Ethereum is starting to gain a lot of liquidity, which is why once Ethereum is starting to kind of get boring a bit and we see that overlap into large caps and into altcoins, that's going to be one of the largest moves, just like we saw back in 2021. It will be even bigger than 2021 and even bigger than 2017, 2018. And that's why I do think that a lot of these altcoins, even XRP, could have that 3 to 5x multiple. And if they're lower cap altcoins, then they could have upwards of 10 to 20x plus gains happen in a very short amount of time. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.